January 2025. Another trip around the sun, they say. Well, I sure could use some of that sunshine about now. The city was an iceberg, and I was at the tip of it. And let's just say this was the kind of ice you don't want to be skating on. Ask around and anyone will tell you I'm the sort of PI that gets results. 25 cases and a pile of bodies so high you could shake hands with Icarus. Sure, my methods might not be orthodox, but like a good scotch on a bad night, they always go down neat. But this case, this was different. Swap the shootouts and cigars for popcorn and loud talkers. This was the business of moving pictures, see? And like any business, there's a ladder to climb. The job was simple. Find the best of the bunch, the #1 best movie of the year. But see, if I'd learned anything from this city, it's that some threads ain't worth the yarn they're knit on. Well, honey, I got all night and a needle. The investigation was taking up most nights of a nightless schedule. See, being nocturnal seems to come with the job in this business. Call it a work perk. But how does a fella like me crack the best film of the year anyway? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that. Ha! The only thing I'm usually beholding is 2 broads and a nasty hangover. I was already getting bored of my new work. Huh. Could have sworn I heard something. Probably just old lady Shaw from across the hall. Sweet dame, sure, but couldn't find a prayer in the Bible. I'll take a rain check on that chin wag for tonight, sweetie. I got bigger fish to fry here, and I'm looking damn near out of oil. Someone was there, lurking in the shadows. Best keep hush if I wanted to see the sunrise, huh? What's this? A note? Someone really didn't want me getting to the bottom of this one. Looks like an address? If I'd learned anything from the old ma, it was to always follow the clues, even if it felt like the last thing you should do. She was drunk, and we didn't see much of her. I grabbed a coat and scarf. Like I said, streets are icy enough to make a penguin tango. The address was nearby, some street I'd never heard of. How was that possible? I knew the city like the back of my hand, and I got all 5 fingers, buddy. I saw him as soon as I stepped onto that mysterious sidewalk. Had a briefcase. Said something strange that I couldn't quite make out.
Listen, bud, if you're looking to make it out of this street with your legs and a skip in your step, you better be speaking up now, see?
Be a good boy and take the case. What's in it? I said back. But I said it with my eyes this time, because, I don't know, it's more moody, I guess. Not a word. Like a Friday night on the colorectal ward, this thing stank. But I felt inclined to take it. This case wasn't any closer to solving itself, and I needed any break I could get. But as soon as I leaned closer, this punk had other ideas. Looks like an address. Be a good boy and take it.
You better be speaking up now, see?
Where am I? What happened? Was I hurt or was I just hungover? Memory was a little hazy. Had I dreamt about meeting this man? No. Note was still in my pocket. This was as real as a community note on Twitter. Which is to say, I just don't know anymore. But I felt like it was real, and that's all that matters in this lousy business. I stumbled my way through to the living room. And there it was. The briefcase. It was real. But what was in it? I had an itch it might be nasty, but unlucky for this itch, I hadn't cut my nails in a week, and it ain't gonna scratch itself. If I'd learned anything else from a drunk bum of a ma, it was to always open a mysterious briefcase you'd been handed from a stranger on the street. I opened the case. My God, the case was empty. Nada. I'd been taken for a mug, and I never was much of a coffee man. I couldn't make sense of it. Why go through all of this just to give me nothing? I grabbed a bottle of the good stuff, poured a stiff one out, and mulled it over in a moody way so that enough time could pass to make this whole thing feel structurally a bit more fleshed out. What started out as a simple case of finding the best film of the year had become a slightly weirder case of still finding the best film of the year. I decided it was time to pay our old pal Mr. Streetlamp a visit. He was nowhere to be seen. There wasn't a casino nearby as far as I could tell, but I sure was feeling like a busted flush. But then I saw it, on the floor. A tiny piece of paper? Any other time of the year I'd get on my merry way, but this one felt like a clue. The streets were a mess, sure, but this felt too convenient. Looked like a piece of something bigger. I took it back to the apartment. What were you? Where did you come from? Phone call. I didn't get much of these. You go snooping around enough cracks and people start turning their noses up, if you know what I mean. So I'd learned to be wary of a call. Still, I answered, and I didn't much like what I heard.
Stop rummaging around. The briefcase was supposed to be a decoy, to keep you busy, but you went back, and now you need to stop.
Like a thief in a mortuary, I was taken aback. None of this made any sense. The briefcase was a red herring? I don't buy it. Why go through all of that just to distract me? And distract me from what? Who was the voice at the end of the line? What about my ripped piece of paper? I didn't know it at the time, but I was getting closer than I thought. A while passed without much progress. Days became weeks, weeks became months, and Donald Trump became president. The stuff of nightmares. Except the ones I was having only made me more sure I was on the right track. I kept thinking about our meeting on the street. Whole thing fell off. The ripped paper I'd made no progress on. Edition? Edition of what? Then it hit me like a jolt of lightning. I don't know why exactly. Let's call it a hunch. The ripped corner. I flipped it. Scene. And a numbered list? I'd been a fool. This wasn't just some random piece of paper. This was the corner of a DVD cover. Edition was, I don't know, special edition? Collector's edition? Scene? Selection. I was being led to a film, sure. The film. My God, it must be the best film of 2024. Suddenly, my case didn't look so unsolvable. I was scraping the barrel, sure, but like I said, I don't cut my nails. If I was going to uncover the identity of this DVD, I needed to think differently. Look for clues in spots I hadn't considered. Those dreams helped. Everything that mysterious man had said to me felt even more like a clue now. Be a good boy? That was a weird thing to say, right? And then I remembered it. Something else he'd said to me that I guess my brain had conveniently pushed out until now.
It's not an empty briefcase.
I'd brushed it off at the time because, yeah, I mean, what a weirdo, huh? But now, maybe he was actually telling me it's not an empty briefcase? Not empty. Sweet Mother Mary. It wasn't empty. Underneath the lining of the case was a DVD, and would you believe it? Missing a corner. If these pieces matched, I'd just crack this case wide open. If these pieces matched, I'd just discovered the true best movie of the year. 2003's family sci-fi comedy, Good Boy. My head was spinning. How could this be? Not just that it didn't make sense that the year's best film would arrive to me on a DVD from a mysterious shadowed figure on a street, but more importantly, this film was from 2003, featuring some dogs and Molly Shannon. I had to watch it. Maybe seeing this thing could finally clear the case up, because right now I was stuck in the mud. And if I know anything about mud, it's that it's very muddy, and it gets mud on you. Pieces were starting to click like actors at a West Side Story audition. Who was the mysterious man from the street? Well, buckle up. That wasn't a man after all. It was Molly Shannon herself. She admitted as much during an appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers. Of course, Shannon Avenue. It was right there the whole time. I thought this revelation would put me at ease more, but I couldn't shake two thoughts. One, that was very clearly a man that gave me the briefcase. And two, why? All I could think of was that she wanted to vindicate the film's name all these years later, and needed to put it in the right PI's hands. She also confirmed this in another late-night talk show appearance with Stephen Colbert. Anyway, I decided to watch the DVD. 10 minutes into 2003 sci-fi family comedy Good Boy, I wasn't so sure this was the best film of the year. I mean, sure, kid likes dogs, something's crashed from space, cute movie. But I couldn't shake the thought that this was just a kid's movie from 2003 with a fun bit of wordplay as its title. What did this have to do with 2024? Let alone beating any other film from the year to the top of the list. Like Martha Stewart's Stock Trade Investigators in 2002, I felt lied to. But then, something happened. 15 minutes in, the boy could understand the dogs, and dogs were talking. It all clicked. Cinema. I'd heard tales of films like this. The kind so beautiful, so life-affirming you feel that very brief moment like the only person on Earth. This boy could understand dogs, and they talked to him. And the dogs came from a planet where dogs walk humans. Genius. But any good film needs drama. And this drama was special. See, the boy could understand the dogs, but no one else could. Which made him an outsider in his own world. I thought about all the times I'd felt on the outside looking in. Every Christmas outside my ex-wife's house. When the boys at school used to push me down, kick me in the playground and call me Crisp Pants because of the time I put crisps in my pants. In Good Boy, his new dog friends dealt with the cool kids. And I know they were the cool kids because they were dressed in gold chains and oversized t-shirts. Unlike Liam Aiken, who was dressed like a 30-year-old man who knew what taxes were. I felt seen. The weight of the city. The cases, the bodies, the deception, and the broads. It all floated away. I was at peace. And this piece looked like Liam Aiken talking to his dog. But he could understand him. I could understand him. I could understand everything. I knew immediately that what I just witnessed was too powerful for the world to know about. It wasn't my usual forte, but for the greater good, I needed to destroy the evidence. The world discovering the true beauty of cinema, a film this good, it could destabilize the very foundation of the creative mind. For if no other film could or will be any better, then cinema ceases to be. The drive for excellence ceases to be. I knew it needed to be done. Liam Aiken's smiling face lit up quicker than Mark Meadows' garden bin on a cold December evening. Sorry, kid. You deserve better than this. But the city wouldn't bat an eyelid. What they didn't know couldn't harm them after all. I felt clean. The sun was rising. The wind hit my brow like it only does at the end of a good movie. So here I was, at the edge of the city, the only person second to Molly Shannon who knew the true power of 2003's Good Boy. I'd cracked this case, but at what cost? How could I go back to any other moving pictures? You could throw whatever you want on that silver screen, but you'll never have Liam Aiken talking to dogs again. But maybe there was comfort in knowing we peaked 22 years ago, and all we needed to do now was enjoy the ride. So yeah, that was the end of it all. The end of Good Boy.